Alright, welcome back to Shaving with Buzz. It's not an earthquake, I promise, it's not. I hit the on button, that thing got going like it all over the place. How you like it? Time for shave. Alright, welcome back to Shaving with Fuzzy. I'm Fuzzy. How y'all? So here we are on Wednesday evening. And we've already done the first part of our show, which is entitled, Are They Going to Show Up on Time or Are They Going to Show Up, period. Each period of shift change, you have to monitor that. We have several shift changes throughout the night. We'll be changing people up till tonight 10ish, and then we'll have a 4 in the morning change. But anyway, so you kind of have to watch, because make sure everybody shows up on time. How you doing, Lynn? But anyway, we got the first one of those down. And a lot of times I'm already showered and shaved and everything, but I was fairly confident in the people tonight that was scheduled that I wasn't going to have to go do anything. So here we are. We're gonna knock out a shave. So I got to thinking, I haven't used my classic Colgate in a while, so we're going to use the classic Colgate, and it's in this here Victorian scuttle that I've actually got the brush in here. And I put the water in the bottom, because what you would do, this was before there was running water, is my understanding. And you would take your brush and have your warm water in the bottom of your scuttle, and you could warm your brush up. This does nothing. Nothing. And let me repeat that for the how many ever time. It does nothing to warm the soap cake. Anybody that tells you any different needs to be on meds. That's all I'm saying. They do have scuttles that warm the soap, the lather as you're making it. They look like this. This is a Dirty Bird scuttle 1.5. It's the size and a half. It's got the squirrels in it, so when you're making. And then they make, as I've showed before, the brush scuttle, which looks like this. It's a 2-piece vessel. You put the hot water in, you put this in, and after you get your lather on your brush, you put your brush in, and it keeps everything nice and warm. Those will warm your lather. These have holes in the bottom because the excess water can drip out and your soap does not become soggy. Soggy soap is not exactly what we're after, just so you know. Alright, so that's going to be the soap and the brush, and that's a Marvy's brush. That's just an actual little old Marvy's brush. I actually have Marvy's soap in the little green mug, and then I got one of the Marvy's mug that has the, I think it's a car on it or something. It's the white one. So I got a green one and a white one. I can make Marvy's shave. I've done it. I'll do it again one of these days for you. And so in one of my Marvy's mugs, I have Marvy. The other, I have what's called Scoutmaster, which is actually a worse soap than Marvy's, if you can believe. There's a worse soap than Marvy's. And there he is. I can make it shave too. Alright, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to finish off today with the British Sterling, because I just felt like using British Sterling. It's a great mix with the vintage stuff and for a razor. Okay, so the other day we shaved with the 1915-ish. Someone said they thought maybe this is what they called the Super 6, which was one of the last ones kept rolling. I don't believe so, because if I'm not mistaken, the Super 6 still had the lever in the back to tighten the blade up against the stops. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't mind being wrong on this one. This is not something I'm an expert at. Technique is more of my thing, not the razor dating and history and all that stuff. There's other people a whole lot better at that than I am. But I don't believe that this 1915 patent date Kemp Brothers Star is the Super 6. But what I do want to show is this is a 1914 Ever-Ready, which is what we're shaving with today. We call it the Little Lather Catcher. And you can see the similarities in the here, how it's all made, the lather part there. Okay, if it was a lather catcher. Now I don't consider these a lather catcher. They do not go in the clan of the catchers. Somebody has tried that before. It does not work. We do call them the little lather catcher to do it. Also, another difference between the 1920 and the 1914 here and the 1915 there is that the 14 lifts from the front to open. And that 1915, like the 1924, opens from the back. So anyway, while we got it open, we're going to stick a blade in. It's had 2 or 3 uses. I can't remember. It doesn't matter. It's still going to shave good. And it just slides in there under those 2 side stops all the way up front. And the top snaps closed. And always be sure always, 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 let me repeat that one again for you. Always be sure that the blade is nice, centered behind the stops before you take off. Because if it's not, it leaves a pretty good scar. Do not ask me how I know. I'll lie to you. I'm just saying. Alright, so that's going to be today's shape. Whoo, boy. But I want to tell you about the day I had the other day. Now, normally I sleep in the daytimes and do things that need to get done because, as I mentioned before, I'm the night supervisor. And I have fought tooth and nail a lot of times to not get drug into day shift stuff. Day shift stuff is day shift. They've got the support network and they got everything and they know all the people, and the majority of people, are awake and moving around in day shift. And I try not to get too involved in that. But the other night I get a call from out at one of my patrol sites, one of my nighttime patrol sites. It doesn't do anything in the daytime. It is definitely a nighttime shift. And the man that's there tells me, "Hey boss, got a flat." Well, I don't know if any of you have ever driven around construction sites. It's just like being around plants and being around the port here and things of that nature. You're going to have flats. The tires become what look like porcupines with the plugs that are in them sometimes, and it's just a never-ending battle. So anyway, I said, well, I'll go stick a can of Fix-A-Flat in it, because a couple of weeks ago the company approved putting new tires on this vehicle, and I figured it was supposed to be getting new vehicles. The port got new tires, the truck out there, and it really needed it. They got it, so I figured this one's going to get taken care of. Well, I picked up a can of Fix-A-Flat. Now, I know what people think of Fix-A-Flat, but let me tell you something, boys and girls. In my world, in the world of this stuff, where all you're trying to do is keep a vehicle going circles around, Fix-A-Flat is not a bad thing. That being said, I have put Fix-A-Flat in tires and driven them for quite some time without any issues. So anyway, I get out there and no, it wasn't going to work. They had driven the vehicle and the tire had popped off the bead, and there was no way to put Fix-A-Flat in it and fix it because I didn't have a big enough air compressor to get it back on the bead. So pulled it off back up into where we lock it up in the daytime, and I said, well, day shift has been busy. I'll do my part as a supervisor, and since this is a nighttime vehicle, I will make an exception. So before the shift ended that night, I went by and I took that tire off of the vehicle. Now, the vehicle does not have a jack in it. The vehicle does not have a jack, a tire iron in it or anything. It doesn't have the equipment to get the tire from under the bottom, which I was told was not a good tire anyway. There was no need to try to get the spare on it to get it anywhere because the spare would not take it anywhere. That's what I was told, and I believe it. So I went by before the shift was over and I took the tire off. So the theory being that we're going to take that tire first thing in the morning to the tire shop that we have an account with here in town, which is about 6 miles from the construction site. And we're going to get the new tire put on that one, and we're going to take it back and we're going to put it on the vehicle, which is a Nissan Xterra, by the way, like a 2015. We're going to put it on the vehicle, we're going to drive the vehicle back up there, and they're going to put the other 3 tires on it. French market, dark roast, so medium dark roast with chicory. Normally I don't care about medium dark roast, but you put the chicory in it, you got New Orleans coffee. Life is good in the coffee hood. So I get up to the tire place in the morning and we go through the deal, and the guy with the company that has to approve all the funding stuff, gave him a call and he approved having the tires put on. So they mount the tire on the rim, and I threw it back up in the back of my truck, and I shoot back down to the construction site and I slap it on. And it's been raining every day, so it's muddy. So I slap it on. Hold that thought real quick. Let's see if we get any audio feedback out of this here thing tonight. A lot of times you'll get some really good. Not so much tonight. No, not going to get it tonight. Sometimes you get some pretty good audio feedback. But what I do want to show you, like I said, this is either a second or third use blade. There was a little bit right under there. But look right here, just on this first pass. It's it's clean, it's smooth. We could do a touch-up pass right there, go to work, nobody would ever notice anything. The 1914 is an incredible razor. I don't like the 24 just because I don't like it. I didn't say it didn't do a good job. I didn't say that. I said I don't like it. But the 1914, man, they had it right. They had it right. Gives you a good close-up of it in action. So, drove the Xterra back up to the tire shop. Waited, I don't know, I had to get back in line when I got back up there, so it was 30 minutes or so. They were actually moving pretty good. And they get up, and I'm sitting there, and guy comes in and says, we got an issue with the Xterra. Somewhere along the line, somebody had cross-threaded two studs on the other back tire. The back driver's side was the one that went flat initially. So the back passenger side, somebody had at some point, and they just left two lug nuts off of it, so the studs are all rusty. They wouldn't touch it. Now, that's standard at tire shop stuff. I don't know why. I saw it. I knew it was that way. But the four nuts that are on there are across from each other and everything. They're not just all side by side. And the thing, I mean, it's okay to drive. The wheel's not going to fall off. But you would think that somewhere along the line, somebody doing maintenance would have run it by the shop and said, hey, throw me two wheel studs and a couple lug nuts on there, and we'd have been done with it. Don't think that, because that ain't what happened. But anyway, my jack and all my tools and everything were all the way back at the construction site with my truck. Because I was using my little floor jack and my 4-way lug wrench and all this stuff, because it makes it easy. So they put the two front tires on. So now I got 3 out of 4 on it. I'm doing pretty good. And come to find out, one of the front tires was actually the spare. And the tire that was under the back was actually the rim that needed to go on the front. So they fixed that for me. They put the new tire on the rim, and the tire that was the spare was in good shape. It was the best of the 4. It was the one I was going to use for the spare. I didn't realize that the wheel that was on it was the spare. So anyway, they put that back under for me. So we got all that done. That took them, what, 20, 30 minutes altogether. Maybe not quite that long. 20 minutes. Let's call it 20 minutes. So anyway, starts raining. Now it's raining cats and dogs. No. Take that back. Take that back. The rain was coming at that time. So I drive back to the construction site. I get there. I jack it back up. Take the tire off that they won't mess with. Oops. I grabbed the 1915, ain't got a blade in it. As you can see, it doesn't really do anything if it doesn't have a blade. Alright, so anyway, here we go to the cost of grain stuff. And so I get back, and now some people say, why didn't you just borrow their jack, ask them for a jack, and ask them all that stuff? And them people were working, and they had no interest in loaning out any tools. I didn't even ask, to be honest. By that time, we're several hours, we're like 3 or 4 hours into this game, and I've worked the night before. I'm tired, and I didn't want to mess with it. But it gets cranky when it gets tired. So anyway, I got the tire off, and I took it back up, and they put the new tire on it for me, and I brought it back. Now, just as I get back to the shop, to the tire shop to have the last tire mounted, it starts raining. And it continues to rain the whole time that they're mounting the tire. I didn't have to wait but about 10 minutes that time. They had someone, he had it, the shop, the rider or service rider or whatever they call them at those shops, got right on it for me. He had somebody take care of it. Nice guy, appreciate that. Raylan was his name. And anyway, so it's raining. So when I go back to put the last tire on, it's even wetter than it was when I was taking them off, because I'm out on a construction site. But at least it was a gravel lot that I was sitting on, so it was mud and gravel instead of just, mud and mud. Whew. So I finally got all that done. So there you go. That's my story of helping day shift out. Now, if they'd have done that before the tire came off the rim, all I would have had to have done was cranked it up and driven it down. They'd have put 3 of them on and said, hey, we can't do that one. and I'd have just having to take that one off, and wouldn't have had to done all that driving backwards and forwards and burning up gas and all that stuff. But that'd be too much like right. Can't have that. It'd be too much like right. Boy. Well, apparently I said something the other day that runs in my family. Remember the other day when I was talking about give the illusion you care? I got a nice little text from my sister-in-law. Love your sister-in-law. And she was talking about my brother had used either that exact line or something very similar to it. It was all the same thing. I told her, yeah, with my brother, sister, and myself, the sarcasm streak runs pretty deep sometimes. But anyway, it's always nice to get texts from family. All right, so there we go. And among all that, we have gotten an incredibly good, close, comfortable shave. This is the top of the line, dang fine shave, the DFS that we look for. Remember, we're not hunting BBS. That's a myth. Well, Fuzzy, I can get BBS all the time. I get it. I do. And when I get one and I take the extra time and risk it, it's good for a couple hours and it comes back just like sandpaper. Now, some people, like Dave in Kentucky, who I happen to like, and I don't think he's lying to me, he says if he takes the extra time, he can get an extra 10 to 12 hours, I believe he told me, out of a shave because he takes the extra time for the BBS. I'd almost buy that as being worth it. I'm still not sure it's worth it, but I understand his reason, and I'll play along with him on that. Sure will, no problem there. All right, well, that's going to do us for today, boys and girls. And we're going to finish up here. We're going to slap on. I usually forget to put the aftershave on till after the video's off, but let's throw a little bit on today. British Sterling, if you're wondering, is some very, very nice stuff. It's it really is. It's an old style scent. It's not overpowering. It goes on strong. It dies down pretty good. It's not actually made in British. So if you're looking for an actual British aftershave, this is not it. It says British Sterling, but it's made in New Jersey. So that's my understanding. Again, if I'm wrong, somebody correct me. I don't mind. But it's really nice. And I've also got some of the spray cologne, so I'll use that, and then I'll spritz myself before I hit the door. And I'll have to fight the little old ladies off all night long. There's a story in there. I'm not going to take time to tell it right now. But let's just say that Fuzzy has reached the age to where he's the younger guy to the older ladies. And that's what some of them are looking for. Where's my cane? But anyway, we're going to finish up this fine cup of coffee and do a few other things. All right, there we go. That's what I got today. That's what's going on in my world. The 1914, like I said, it opens from the front. And this one still has a very, very strong spring. But it opens from the front. You can hold on by the back. Now look at the best of this thing, man. I mean, on the back of that blade. You got to clean that up. If you don't, your blade is going to rust because Fuzzy's using carbon steel blade. So just hold it by the spine, rinse it off, and then you can grab it on the side. Still, kind of got your fingers under there on the spine, and you can kind of sideways work it across a hand towel, and you got a nice dry, clean blade. It's ready to go again. And then swirl it down in your nice basin of warm water. I realize that warm water now has soap suds and cut whiskers and stuff in it. It's not as icky as you might think it is. It will definitely do to clean the old razor up, and then it's ready to go back to the old razor box. There we go. All right, that's it for me. Y'all have a good one. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. So I got to shave my face. Look at it. I trimmed it up some so it was kind of even. There we go. I'm now a face comber. Where's my cane? I remember back in my day. I don't remember my day, but I'm pretty sure I had one. Wherever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Happy shaves to you.